You're listening to the Floyd Main Street Podcast. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm your host, Lucas Graham, back for another edition of this week's Floyd Main Street Podcast. Joining us today, Mr. Eric Branscombe. Eric, how you doing?
Hey, Lucas. Good to be back. It's been a couple of weeks.
It has been a couple of weeks. We had a good time off. Chad Harris is joining us today. Chad, how you doing?
I'm good.
We're recording here from our new and permanent location at the Safe Surfing Studios here in Floyd, Virginia. We'll be talking about them later in the episode, but they've graciously let us use their space to record. We'll be here from now on, but we're in our spot. Come see us in town if you ever know where we're at.
The Safe Surfing Plaza right here in the middle of the Village Green.
Yeah.
Right in the heart of the town of Floyd, in the heart of Floyd County, Virginia, in the heart of the Blue Ridge Mountains.
We're still here. We're live. We're on duty. We're ready to roll. We got a lot to talk about, you know.
Yeah, it's been a couple of weeks.
We've missed out. We had our Labor Day podcast special interview. Great job, by the way, filling in for me as host. But I've gotten a lot of feedback about people that learned a lot from that special edition episode. If anybody's a fairly new listener and you want to see what growth looks like, go back and watch our first couple episodes.
No, I wouldn't recommend that.
Me either.
I think we're using a cell phone as our recording.
So I tried to listen to one of the ones that we recorded that we never released. They're horrible. I'll be the first to admit it.
It makes a difference when you got a good production crew.
That's exactly right.
We got a lot to talk about, though.
Yeah, there's been a lot going on.
A lot going on. Some RICO indictments. We'll talk about that, what that means, what RICO is. Courthouse security. There's a new business going to be starting up in Floyd that we've gotten word of. A Labor Day protest.
Yep, there's been a lot going on in the county.
Yeah, and of course, Board of Supervisors stuff. There's some notes coming up, and I think there's a meeting that we're going to talk about upcoming and past. Just a lot to break down, so we'll just jump right into it. Starting us off with the headlines this week. Number one, RICO. So, Eric, can you tell us, some people that are listening may not even know what that means. They just hear RICO indictment, and it's coming from the Commonwealth Attorney, so they know that it's some sort of charge in some capacity, some type of criminal organization. But what is RICO? What does that mean?
Well, RICO is the type of act that state law has to go after organized crime. It's based on a federal legislation to go after organized crime. This goes back to the 70s and early 80s. Rudy Giuliani actually had a lot to do with the original design of the code, but the Virginia section of that goes, you have to meet a certain threshold to meet organized crime. So it has to have a certain amount of dollar value going through, it has to have a certain amount of impact into people putting into property, and it has to involve certain types of crimes. In this case, we have RICO indictments involving drug distribution, prostitution, and human trafficking. I can't go into a lot of the details on the particulars in this case because what I do is protect the rights of the people that are charged as well as the people that are being victims in these things. But we have to make sure that there's integrity in the system. But I can tell you what has been made public. The indictments have all been served. Everyone involved now has an attorney involved. So the 5 individuals that were indicted in this round of indictments that came out on August 19th was Earl Wayne Smith of Rockbridge County, Molly Lepisto, also of Rockbridge County, Jose Sanchez and Lindsay Burnett, and Kenneth Tolley, each of those of Roanoke City. They were all charged with racketeering under that statute.
Now, the RICO, was it designed to be something more all-encompassing for those cases like this where it is a criminal organization? So you go back to maybe what the mob in the 70s and 80s in New York City, if you had the crime boss who clearly was making all the decisions, but they were indirectly related to it. So under the RICO, that allows you to prosecute people that maybe were indirectly related, right?
The main advantage it gives for any kind of prosecution is that it allows us to take any jurisdiction where any one of the acts in furtherance of the criminal organization took place can prosecute for the racketeering charge for everything that happened. That gives us broad authority to go after these things. And a racketeering charge, the first offense carries from 5 to 40 years in the penitentiary, and each subsequent charge carries from 20 years to life.
Wow. Heavy charges.
So they're heavy duty.
Something, like you said, I know you can't talk a lot about now. Perhaps in the future we can, but a lot of people are going to be interested to know, okay, just in what you just stated, I've heard Rockbridge County, I've heard Roanoke City. I didn't hear Floyd, but it's going to be interesting for our listeners to figure out how does this tie back to Floyd.
Virginia State Police helped pull this all together, but this involves investigations both with the Rockbridge County Sheriff's Office and the Floyd County Sheriff's Office. I think the first event that ticks it off here was with the Floyd County Sheriff's Office. There were subsequent unrelated investigations in Rockbridge, and it was the Virginia State Police that kind of pulled all of that together to show that it was an organization involved in covering all of this. So we're working closely still with the Rockbridge County Commonwealth Attorney's Office.
Right.
And we also have input from the Virginia Attorney General's office and other Commonwealth Attorney's offices in the state that have done these sort of prosecutions before have been actively helping us with this.
And it probably takes a lot of time to really gather everything needed when this goes to trial because, like you said, it's covering multiple jurisdictions. So you're talking about multiple different agencies that you're having to work with, multiple different commonwealths that you're working with also. So there's a lot of pieces to the puzzle.
It's a very complicated type of case to prosecute. The next court dates are, at this point, set for September 30th, but that's just to be set dates. It's entirely likely that we'll have bond hearings for some of the people involved as they come up. When you have those bond hearings, more information becomes public, and that's when you'll see more information getting out into the public about what's going on with this.
Okay. Yeah, I look forward to more info for us to be able to release more information moving forward.
Because I know people are curious, and I appreciate that, but we have to be respectful of the integrity of the process. And it's not going to come out all at once. It'll come out as things unfold in the courts.
It'll be a good story. I look forward to hearing updates from that when the time does come. Moving on, the courthouse security. I want to touch on that real quick because that's something that we've talked about in a lot of episodes now when it was upcoming, when the processes were changing. Chad, where are we at with courthouse security right now? Because they changed the locks over and certain doors are locked now. It's not like it was.
No, we're rocking and rolling now. So
Okay.
we started Monday, full lockdown on the courthouse. The back entrance is the only entrance you can use to get in or out of the courthouse now. There's a man staffed at the metal detector during operation hours of the courthouse. So when you come in, there's certain things that you're not allowed, obviously, to bring into the courthouse. You have to go through a metal detector, and then you can carry on about your business. The main entrance, the side entrance, they're no longer available or accessible to the public. There is alarms on those doors, so if anybody goes out, it sends out an audible alarm. And we've also figured out that if somebody jerks on the door from the outside, it sets the alarm off.
Yes, I've heard that over the past week when everything went in as of last Monday, and definitely we've had a few alarms from people coming through.
So there's going to be some growing pains with this. I think we're going to sit down in a couple of weeks and just kind of go over some field notes that we've jotted down, what's working, what we need to drop back and punt on.
On Thursday, we had an attorney come from Blacksburg over for a case, and he was always used to parking in the front of the courthouse, parked there, looped right up the front steps, right past all the signs, didn't read anything, came up, jerked on the front door, boom, the alarms start going off.
Yeah, that might be something during that reevaluation process. There may be an entrance that we're seeing that people are trying to go, whether it be the front door or whatever.
Well, most people have come in through the back door anyway, because that's where the parking lot is, and that's where the easiest way to get in.
And I mean, there's signs on the doors. We've even talked about even putting some barricades or something in front of the doors on the outside, just to show more awareness to people as they're walking up.
Yeah, I think if we do that, then people will kind of get used to it a little bit faster, because I know that the door that's facing the bank has long been used for people to go in and use the public restroom there. And so there's a certain amount of connection there. We've got those parking spaces up front.
Again, for anybody listening that's maybe didn't catch this when we've talked about it before, just to recap real quick, what originated from this is there were some threats made to a courthouse employee that led to the reevaluation process of, okay, how can we make this place more secure? Because we got to looking at it, I said, okay, if somebody wanted to come in here and do harm, I mean, there's a lot of ways in, there's a lot of ways out. I mean, it could be an issue. And it led us to where we're at now. And so I get that it could potentially be an inconvenience for some people, depending on, you may be used to go into the courthouse parking in a certain area and slipping in a side door that you're not going to be able to now. But just know that it's being done with safety in mind.
That's actually set for trial. That case is actually set for trial on September 25th and 26th, a Thursday and Friday, which is a little unusual for us.
Remember, too, I mean, even though the side door is going to be locked and you won't necessarily have accessibility to that bathroom, the county office is right across the road in the old bank building now. And it looks like the bank is, in fact, they're moving next week.
Oh, right. That's another good thing for us to discuss about the bank moving.
Yeah. I drove through town when I left work yesterday afternoon, and they'd already moved desks upstairs. There were some lights on upstairs. I saw some desk chairs, some desks, the signage out front showing me the temperature like it always did in town. But they got to moving quick. I know they were doing the landscaping, putting the retaining wall up.
I mean, it's been
the
every
grass
day.
grew overnight. Did you see that?
And boys were putting work into it.
Well, they were there on Sunday working on it. Last Sunday I drove by. This was on Labor Day weekend on Sunday. They were out there working on the outside of that, getting all the brick facing up on it.
Looks great.
Looks better than the old building.
Maybe we can buy that building in about 50 more years.
Somebody should buy that building.
Too good right now.
But it's a steal.
What's going in on the first floor? Is it going to be the county offices also once the bank moves out?
They've showed some floor plans in the county meetings in the past. I think there's actually talks of even a new boardroom to the right.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen some plans. I'm not sure if they're on the county's website or if they're accessible to anybody, but they did present them during one county meeting. I imagine they've got a lot of work to do. It's probably not like the bank moves out and they're back open for business and everything's in order where it needs to be. I'm sure
it
that's
is
going to take some
convenient to
time.
finally do that, to have all of the offices there in one space.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You've got the court functions in the courthouse, as they should be, and then, of course, all of the county functions you can take care of just by one visit over to the county building.
Yeah, it sounds like priority number one is to get the treasurer's office.
The treasurer's office and the commissioner's office, because we're paying rent, because they're in the Village Green, also in the Safe Serving Plaza, just around the corner.
Howdy, neighbor.
Yeah, I think their goal was to get them over and into the new county building before taxes are due.
Well, I know that Missy Keith and Lisa Baker will be thrilled about moving again.
I'm sure.
But I'd probably be a lot better over in the...
Oh, man, it will be so much more space.
I know for Missy and the treasurer's office, when people come to pay their taxes, particularly in the cold weather, if it's December 5th and you have a line going outside, they're covered here, fortunately, but you can be standing out in the cold a long time waiting to pay, because if you're like me, you wait till the very last minute or even beyond.
That's right. And speaking of Missy, if she's listening to this episode, I'm sorry to put you on the spot, Missy, but with tax season will be approaching before we know it. We're entering the fall. Next thing you know, we'll be getting our W-2s and getting ready for tax season. But that might be something, our listeners, if you have any questions regarding that, she might be a good guest to bring on and talk to
I'd
sometime.
love to have Missy on here.
Oh, yeah. I always enjoy
We should
talking
have
with
Missy
her.
and Lisa on together. They work well.
Yeah. Bring them on.
I bet if we helped them move, they would come on the podcast.
Maybe so. Didn't Missy have that huge safe that we had to move?
I can't remember.
When they were moving out of the courthouse over into Village Green, everything was going fine. And then it was all of a sudden, Missy said, well, we got this big safe, because, of course, they have to deal with cash. So I think that was a surprise. And so it took a little extra effort to move that safe over.
Something that we can definitely talk about that I noticed is while we were out at our special edition episode for Labor Day week, is the county board of supervisors had, I don't know if it's been officially dubbed as it, but they had not a secret meeting, but it was a meeting that I don't know that many people knew about.
So what they did on August 28th, they released a notice that within 15 days, they were going to interview people for a position for the county administrator. But here's the fun part, that it was going to be at an undisclosed location and an undisclosed time. So basically a top secret meeting sometime within 15 days starting from August 28th.
And it didn't say anything about what, right?
What's the reason for that, you think, Eric?
That's not illegal. There's a section that allows them to do that by code. I guess the question is, why would you want to do that?
Allows them to do what?
Allows them to hold in an undisclosed location at an undisclosed time to interview people for certain positions.
What would be the reasoning that you would want to do that?
Now you're kind of getting into speculation.
I'm not trying to speculate, but like in other cases, let's say,
Obviously, we're trying to conceal the people that are coming through the system being interviewed. So you don't want that to be necessarily, I suppose, because you're concerned that the people coming through would be recognized or the subject of conversation. So that if those people would be recognizable and for some reason you didn't want it known that people were being considered.
So in other words, what you're saying is the reason you would do that is if there was a county administrator position available and the county administrator, let's say from Carroll County, applied and they wanted to come over and interview for this job, they would want to conduct that interview in an unknown location and time so that someone from Carroll County doesn't come over and see them walking in.
See them walking in.
Makes sense.
Or if there was somebody that was applying for the job that you didn't want known that they were applying for the job for another reason, for some other controversy.
So what time is your interview, Eric?
Well, let's see. I think I've got Wednesday at 4 p.m. Oh, no, wait. I'm not supposed to say anything.
It is interesting because we've hit on this before. We actually talked about it in the last episode that we recorded when we were following up on the land division ordinance, was that, yes, the optics, we were talking about having a couple board members that were realtors, right? And so there's one side of it, the optics of it may not look good, that we're talking about a land division ordinance when two of your board members are realtors. But on the flip side, if you look at it from the other angle, is that they could have a better working knowledge as long as the ethics are there. They could have a better working knowledge of the terminology to help filter through that, because we discussed it. It's hard to read through some of that. But same concept in this situation of, maybe the optics don't really look that good, because it really does. It comes across as kind of like, okay, we're having a meeting, but we don't want to tell everybody about it.
You come across that, you look at a board that has excessively long closed sessions. The issue that I see is one of transparency. Where's the transparency? The Virginia Code allows the board to do that, but it certainly doesn't require the board to do that.
Right.
While you can do that, the question is, why would you and why should you?
Yeah.
Because on top of this is a situation where you had the advertisement for this was extremely limited. What was it, 12 days?
I believe.
12 days. It was notified on a very limited part of the Floyd County website. It wasn't under jobs. It was under news and announcement. It wasn't notified on the Virginia Association of Counties site. There were just a number of things about it that seemed odd. And this just adds to that a little bit further. So what is being hidden and why? That's the question that I've had people ask me. And I don't know.
Yeah.
But obviously, it's a reasonable question.
I've gotten feedback from listeners and saw it in comments and private messages also. It seemed like it was a recurring theme, was people wondering, it's obviously an important position. Mm-hmm. Administrator of the entire county. Pretty important position, one that you would want to cast a wide net so that you could find the best possible candidate. So that was the feedback that I received personally, was people saying, why are they only posting it for 12 days? But, you don't know the reasons always.
Well, exactly. If the board was more open about why they were doing things and their goal on certain things, you wouldn't have questions that you would worry about things like that.
Well, for one thing, too, I think this is under a microscope by a lot of people, because this is the county administrator. They have a lot of say in what goes on in this county and the future of this county. And I think a lot of people are paying particularly close attention to this. And I think that's causing a lot of people to ask a lot of questions.
And that can be taken sometimes negatively in a way when people ask questions. But I think any good citizen should ask questions. If I had to pick one word about this whole topic that I've gotten when people talking to me about it, or messages or comments that have been left on our podcast, that's the recurring theme. If I had to pick one word, it would be transparency. That's what people want. That's what they've been the most vocal about. Mm-hmm. And sometimes just a simple little bit of transparency can really dispel a lot of misinformation too.
Well, it's a matter of, using it and then overusing it. Chad, you know that when we're in law enforcement, that someone is going through the system, there's a certain amount of that you can't reveal to the public, because the process is that you're protecting their rights, because you don't want things tried in the public. It's easy to make accusations, but we have to prove things. So when things finally go through everything in the system, when things are out in court, well, all that's public. There's no secret then. It's there for anyone to look at. Certainly, there are issues that the Board of Supervisors does legitimately take up, and there are legitimate considerations. Like you said, if someone from a neighboring county wanted to throw in to take over the county administrator position, that would be sensitive for them to come in for that particular date. But there's nothing stated by the board, we're doing this because we want to be sensitive to people's privacy.
Right. While we're talking about the Board of Supervisors, I think there's a meeting upcoming. Is there going to be a meeting in between this episode and the next one? I believe. I could be completely wrong on that.
No, I think that if it's the first Tuesday of the month, that should be the 9th.
I saw the county government website posted, looked like the agenda for the meeting. So if it's something you're interested in, go check that out on their website, know what's upcoming. We'll have a full report for you next week, courtesy of Mr. Harris and his breakdowns of the board meetings. So I look forward to that one.
Oh, dear.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
I'm gonna get some coffee.
Just
So
riveting
make it
stuff,
through another one of Chad's summaries.
Yeah. Hey, I appreciate it.
Hey, it's my time that I actually get to talk without being interrupted by Eric. So
Don't count on that.
What he doesn't know is our production team mutes Eric's mic during that segment because he picked up on it too.
The good thing is, where we're at now, there's a whole big box of stress balls. I could just stick one in his mouth, and when he spits it out, I'll reach over and grab another
Well,
one.
as long as it's got a good flavor to them, that's all right.
Labor Day, there was a protest. We were talking about this earlier. I didn't hear about it. I don't know about this.
I was here because I often will come in on those days to get some things done in the office because it's quiet.
Yeah.
And I was here with Tyson, the courthouse dog, and we took a look outside and saw that there were about 30 to 35 folks out there with signs. I think it was more of a demonstration than a protest, but it was kind of mixed because a lot of it was kind of pro-labor and saying 7-day work week and 40-hour work week and weekends and so forth that the labor movement over the years has brought to the U.S. But there were also some impeach Trump signs and save our schools and some other issues that were thrown in there.
So are they protesting to work more or work less?
Well, that wasn't really clear about that. I tried to get close, but Tyson was a little afraid. There was a lot of singing going on, and that kind of scared him. So we didn't get too awful close.
Had a buddy ask me the other night, he said, I wonder whose idea it was that we work 5 days and are only off 2. No, why didn't that person decide that we're going to work 2 and be off 5?
That was a labor movement in the early part of the 20th
I'm
century.
sure whoever it is dead now.
That's right. Probably from working too much, right?
I mean, I lived in England for a while. We have a 40-hour work week. They have a 37-hour work week.
37.
Yeah. I don't know how they came to that number.
That's, yeah. A flooring store I saw on Floyd Group. This probably qualifies as news because I don't know that we have an influx of flooring companies in the county.
I was talking with Tim Delaney the other day out at Wills Ridge, and he was saying there's a tremendous amount of construction activity going on in Floyd County.
Construction activity.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of people are building.
A lot of people are building. So I can see why a flooring store
So
might
is
take
this
off.
like pre-manufactured floor? Is this like wood flooring? Or is it just a little bit of everything? Do we know?
Probably have to wait till the grand opening to find out. When is that, Lucas?
They had an introductory post talking about their company. And so I'll just read a little bit off of that. But their grand opening, I guess they're going to be doing September 25th. It's on a Thursday. We'll bring that up next week. So you guys, if you're interested, you don't forget about it. But they are located at 203 Fox Street, Unit A. Chad, for those that don't know, myself included,
I believe that's behind Food Line.
Fox Street.
Isn't that Fox Street?
Exactly. Yes, that's right.
Okay. So behind off of Oxford Street is where you'll find Fox
I
Street.
believe that's Fox Street.
Okay. 203 Fox Street, Unit A. And it's the grand opening. And it says, join us for a ribbon cutting ceremony at 5 p.m. on September 25th. But it's the Floyd Floor Company, and it's your new go-to for hardwood, LVP, laminate, carpet tile, and stone. We got it all.
So it sounds like it's a little bit of everything, Chad.
Yeah, yeah.
That goes over well.
Support local business. That is not an official endorsement. It is an all-encompassing theme. Support local business.
Well, I mean, I'm sure you could probably go to Wills Ridge or C.W. Harmon's and order your flooring there. And Stacy down here at the mill sells some flooring. But I think that's great. We've got another option in the county.
Absolutely. And it's in-house.
And there's nowhere around, I don't think, that sells carpet in Floyd, is there?
To my
I
knowledge,
don't think so, no.
I know subcontractors that work in it, but not the actual sale of it. You know something that we can talk about now, fellas, that we ain't got to talk about all summer? Sports. See, I know people think music's my thing, and it used to be, but now it's all about sports. I'm a baseball guy. I've always been, but man, something about football just gets the juices flowing.
I'm enjoying the pennant races at the moment, but it's the local sports we got to focus on.
High school football is back.
It is.
Floyd County, since our last recording, had their first game of the year. They played...
That was Giles County, wasn't it?
Yeah, Narrows out there in Giles.
Narrows, yeah.
And we beat them. I don't, Eric, do you have the score?
Well, we beat them.
That's what matters, right?
That's the matter.
And we had a bye week this past week, which was interesting. You have one game, and then you have a bye week.
Have they always had bye weeks in high school football? I don't recall.
No, I
having-
think it's just a matter of you have it sometimes, but not all the time.
31-26 was the final score. We did beat Narrows.
Yep, that's what I'm saying.
I was trying to pull the box score up and give you all some statistics, but apparently Max Prep's website now requires a subscription for the advanced stats.
So you can't get all of that.
I regret to inform you I will not be purchasing that at this time.
Yep.
So we'll work on getting some stats. We've been talking about some stuff. We're going to bring some of the staff, hopefully, in from the football team to talk about the football season because we know how big football is here in Florida.
Yeah, we got someone lined up for that, so hopefully we'll be getting a weekly update on how things are going with Floyd County High School football.
But coming up, we'll talk about next week. They've got a game Friday, September 12th. So all coming off of their bye week, we're at 1-0, and they will be playing Blacksburg, who is currently 2-0. That's a 7 o'clock game. Looks like Blacksburg will be the home team. It's a bigger division. I don't want to say division. I think they're 3A versus Floyd 2A. I could be wrong on that, but it's been a while since I've checked on that. But the bigger school, more students. It's always a tough matchup. Bruins always bring it pretty good, but our Buffaloes.
I've got a list here is that it's a home game.
It is a home game.
Home game versus Blacksburg.
Never mind then. So we'll be bringing the house here in Floyd. Make sure you bring your cowbells.
Get out there. Yeah, get your cowbells and probably kick off around 7. That's what he usually does.
Yeah, it's a 7 o'clock kickoff. So remember that against Blacksburg. Show up and support our Buffaloes. We can go 2-0.
There we go.
That's right. Now, moving on, we
have other sports going on.
Do we have? Did I miss something?
Oh, well, we've got other things going because I know that competitive golf is going on. You know that we have those golf teams that we've been winning state championships with.
That is true. We got some good golfers.
Now, I don't have all the scores on it, but I do know that we have some upcoming tournaments. There's a tournament on September 16th at Great Oaks Country Club. That'll be multiple schools involved in that one.
Okay.
So that'll be interesting to see how that goes. That golf is off and running, and I know track will also be off and running too, and volleyball. Those are all things that are going. It's just a matter of trying to get things because we got cross-country events going on through the fall.
Okay.
Yeah, my daughter ran track, so I know that you get cross-country in the fall, and you have, over the winter, you'll have inside track, and then you'll have outdoor track.
Look forward to getting some of those updates again. If you remember, going into the spring season, into the school year, we had some teams here in Floyd across different sports that made it to state quarterfinals or state semis.
Well, we had the softball, the
softball
baseball.
team made it to state.
They all did tremendously.
Fantastic. So let's keep that momentum going.
We've got a sports giant here for Floyd County. We've got Goliath.
It seems like the community's always rallied behind that. I mean, there's always a good crowd at the high school on a Friday night football game. But after talking about sports, I think maybe go back to integrating music and events together. We'll talk about notable music. It don't have to necessarily be every event for the sake of time, but there's a lot of events coming up this week. Some stuff that we want to hit on that we've probably missed out on from last week. And so if you guys have any events coming up that you want to talk about or throw in, please feel free to chime in because I'm just going down a list here.
You go down the list, but the thing that jumps out to me is the livestock fair.
Yeah.
That's taking place, I guess, next weekend. It's going to be September 13th.
It's a big one. We probably should have threw that in the news section.
Oh, really?
That's
going to be a good time.
Talk about that in a minute, but the Floyd County Fair. Yeah,
Floyd
next weekend.
County Fair.
It's a livestock agricultural fair. They got a lot of stuff going with that. We'll hit that. I'm going to start and do a little bit of chronological order stuff, though. Floyd Farmers Market happening again Thursday from 2 to 6 at the Community Pavilion, and Honky Tonk Thursdays at 6 p.m. at the Floyd Country Store. I believe this week I saw is going to be Red Volkert. Good old Red, he's a legend. He's played with Merle Haggard and the Strangers. The fact that we are blessed to have him play here in Floyd so often is a treat. So if you ain't got nothing going on then, go check out some of those things. Artisan Market again from 5 to 9. At the Community Pavilion. Of course, Friday night Jamboree. 6:30 p.m.
And everybody that happens to turn out on the streets.
Yep.
Speaking of Saturday.
The Floyd Church of God is having a community drive-through meal. That's September 13th from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. And that's at 122 Floyd Highway South. So go by and check that out.
You know, they've done that before. My mom attends that church, and they do it just because. I asked the pastor about it one time, and he said, you know, we do accept donations, but we're not looking for any money. We're literally not looking to do anything other than just feed the community. Come get a meal.
Say, it looks like it's by donation only, and I'm assuming by the picture it's spaghetti.
Yeah, I think that's typically what they'll do, 11 to 2, and they've got it set up great where you can pull around back. There's a window that's almost ground level that they can just open the window up, give you your food. So if you don't even want to get out of your car, you don't
drive
have to.
through.
Yeah,
all right.
Yeah, pretty cool deal, and it's just free for the community just because. Who don't love spaghetti? I mean, come on. Sketty, as I like to call it, and many other people.
Particularly church spaghetti. Church spaghetti is always the best. That reminds me of elementary school spaghetti, but it's a little bit better. It's got a little bit more, there's a little bit more to it.
A little more love in it.
Yeah, a little bit more love to it. The elementary school spaghetti is real heavy on the starch.
Yeah. Speaking of free meals, or well, not necessarily free, but Plenty is having another farm school.
Okay.
And so that is a initiative for homeschooled kids to learn farm-to-table skills. That's September 16th from 9:30 to noon, and Farmer Sean will be teaching that. He's a great farmer, great gardener. If you have a child that you think they would be interested in that, get out to Plenty and get involved in that. I know Plenty services a lot of people in this community. They offer free food. There's days that you can come drive through and pick up vegetables and things. They just do so much for this community. They service a little over 11% of Floyd County. So if you've got some canned food or you'd like to donate, you can do that as well. The majority of how they're funded is privately through donations. So any little bit helps. So just wanted to throw that out there.
That's pretty cool that that's catered to for young people, and he's talking about it because get those kids out there in the garden. That's awesome. What kid don't want to like playing dirt?
I did like playing in dirt.
You didn't?
Well, I did like playing in dirt until my folks made me work in the garden. I didn't like working in the garden.
Yeah, you didn't.
Because
Like
I had to pull weeds.
The Floyd Livestock and County Fair. We talked about it a little bit earlier, but it's coming up next weekend.
Next week on the 13th. That is a lot of fun because there's the sheep shearing that goes on. There's the sheepdog show. I don't know if you were there in the past couple of years, but they've had a sheepdog to round up. Last year that I went, it was a group of ducks. They would basically chase a bunch of ducks and it would have the ducks go through a tunnel and things like that and into a pond. And
I bet the kids eat that up.
I mean, I ate it up. That was a lot of fun. That was a blast.
And I see that on their advertisement for the fair on the website, which you can check out, floydcountyfair.com, but they're doing ag demos, touch a truck, which is huge with kids. I don't know if it'll be
all the
Floyd
tractor
County fire
companies
truck
out there and stuff like that. And of course, there's always good food. You're going to have some food trucks out there. There'll be kettle corn for sure. There's always kettle corn.
I love some kettle corn, and I could eat my weight in it. Also, there's going to be a petting zoo. That'll be fun.
I used to take my kids to that so they go for the petting zoo. They love that.
What all animals do you remember them
It's
having?
usually like rabbits. They'll have like llamas and sheep.
Yeah.
Things like that.
That's interesting. There's livestock competitions, live music, community exhibits, contests, and more. And we live in a world where everything's expensive these days. But to get to the Floyd County Fair, if you're 13 years or older, you only need $5. I mean, you can't beat that.
It's a good time.
Yep.
On that same day, over at the Spikenard Bee Center in Floyd, the Honeybee Sanctuary, they're having a winter preparation workshop. So people that like their bees and have their beehives, such as a person I know that you work with every day, Chad, that has basically a workshop on how to prepare your hives for the winter. And that's from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. at Spikenard on September 13th.
And you know what's also going on September 13th, don't you, Eric?
Oh, I can hardly wait.
I know. I see you sitting on your hands. The Small Town Summer bonus show.
Oh, man.
It's on the Saturday?
Saturday, September 13th.
Ooh.
Music Road Company and the Wildmans.
Is there a movie?
There's a movie.
And there's a movie.
Ooh. What movie is it? Don't hold me in suspense any longer.
So you're just going to have to wait.
No, you got to tell me. I'll burst.
Actually, I don't know what the movie is. Is there a movie, though? You know for sure?
I do not know, but I have it on good authority from our production team that there is a movie.
Yeah.
So we're going to roll with that. So Eric will be there.
I'll be there for the movie.
Make sure you say hi to him. He likes the attention if you're there. There's also an open house coming up. I want to take just a quick minute. I think it's a really good thing, and we told these people we'd help get the word out. There's a new thing starting here in Floyd for some mental health counseling called Connected Counseling Co-op, and it's 3 different ladies here that are licensed, and they're mental health clinicians. They're going to be opening this practice together, but they're going to be having an open house. It's going to be on September 24th from 3 to 6 p.m. at 209 West Main Street in Floyd. You can join them for an afternoon of family-friendly outdoor activities, light refreshments, and raffle prizes. They also supplied me a mission statement. I'm not going to read everything just for time's sake, but they're talking about being in the heart of Floyd. Their approach is unique to mental health, and it's began to take shape, and it was founded this year, and the vision came to life for this as a mental health service for Floyd. But definitely go check them out. You can find them online at www.connectedcounselingcoop.org. Or you can come check them out again, 209 West Main Street. But that open house is coming up on the 24th. We'll mention it again next week, but another really good service. Just like the flooring company, there's needs for things in Floyd. There's needs for flooring companies. There's also needs, I think, anywhere for mental health and mental health clinicians right now. It's a big thing.
Well, we actually have been working on for the past few years trying to get a mental health docket to the Floyd courts.
Okay.
And we're getting closer to that. Hopefully we'll have an announcement in the next few weeks about that.
That's interesting. I didn't know that.
It's tremendously complicated because you're not just organizing it and working with community services, but you also have to get permission from Virginia Supreme Court to do it and funding. There's lots of grants to be written and so forth, but we have a talented group of people that have been working on that.
So if that ain't enough to interest you on Saturday, you can head over to the Center of the Arts. And they're doing the first fall dance of the year. It's sponsored by the Floyd Contra Dance. I do not know that style of dance, if that's a stuff.
That's where the women ask the men to dance.
It looked like the women are the lead in this photo. That's going on Saturday, September 13th, 7 p to 10:30 p.m. So make sure you got a babysitter.
Are you looking at this at all before? Were you just looking at these pictures now?
Take the fifth. I've done that before on this show. Floyd Center for the Arts is located at 220 Parkway Lane. Again, Saturday, September 13th from 7 to 10:30. One little one that we forgot about, bingo's coming back. I didn't see anything about Scrabble. I don't know if they maybe need to do some internal repairs at the library from all the damages from the fights and everything that broke out during Scrabble. But bingo is coming back. So day after this episode drops, Wednesday, September 10th, 2 to 3 p.m. is your window to get in there and play some bingo.
I've noticed they kind of go back and forth from the bingo to the Scrabble, it looks like.
One time it'll be bingo, then Scrabble.
After the full contact Scrabble, you got to clean up a little bit, I imagine.
I don't know that there's anything else for Saturday.
There was something on the 14th, which is Sunday, that I thought was interesting. A chocolate pairing fundraiser on September 14th at the Junebug Center. I'll just read the report on this. It's that a wine, beer, and chocolate pairing event to benefit the Junebug Center for Arts and Education. A sampling of 6 assorted wines and beers as they pair with luxurious chocolate truffles, presented by the owners of Coco Mia and Floyd. That should be interesting. It's different.
Yeah, and that's a ticket event you said for couples, and that's a date night thing for sure.
It's from 4 to 5, so it's not very long, but you're getting ready to go out to dinner, I guess.
Yeah. Just a quick little live fact check. Scrabble Club is going to be this week. The library is doing bingo and Scrabble. So bingo is going to be on Wednesday.
You got your dates right on that?
I do have the dates right on this.
Yeah, it's September 6th there.
Wednesday, September 10th, bingo, and Thursday, September 11th is going to be your Scrabble.
Well, I'm glad we got that straight.
You know, also on Saturday at 321 West Main Street, Living with Black Bears in Virginia.
Oh, dear.
You know, we've talked about those little things a few times.
Who's putting that on, the supervisors? Or
It's presented by the Board of Supervisors.
All you need to do is put a green box out in your front yard. That's the way to take care of it now. Just live with that kind of wildlife.
That's coming up here on Saturday also.
The Saturday the 13th.
Yeah.
And where's that at?
321 West Main Street.
321 West Main Street.
That might be the library.
If it's West Main Street, yeah, that would be the library.
Okay.
Right across from Food Lion.
speaking of bears and trash, the transfer station has a full-time position available.
Oh, I heard that was put out there that we have a new position.
Yeah, they're looking for motivated employees to drive a recycling vehicle on designated routes throughout Floyd County.
Mm-hmm.
And the starting pay for a non-CDL candidate would be $16 per hour. They offer employee benefits, including health insurance and paid time off. So if that's something that you're interested in, applications are available at the County Administrator's Building, and that's at 202 East Main Street. And you can pick those up Monday through Friday from 8 to 4:30, or you may email your resume to careers@floydcova.org.
Do you think they'll have a secret interview session for that one?
I guess it depends on who applies.
Well, yeah, that's true. We wouldn't want someone from Carroll County trying to interview things. And
I don't know if it said it in that interview, but you don't have your CDL to be able to drive that. I guess if the county did hire you, they would send you to get your CDL.
I would think that you
Sure
need to get a
hope so.
CDL to drive one of those monsters.
Yeah, but I'm sure that's a cost too. But that's all I've got for events in mind, unless there's something else on the slate here that I'm missing out on.
I'm sure we've missed something.
Well, there's always events that we're missing. There's stuff going on. It's hard to keep up. And, well, months ago, I remember saying that going into summer, there would be tons of events. You know, there's going to be plenty of events as we go into fall because we've got
The Craft Festival.
the Craft Festival. I mean, that's coming up on October 4th.
That is a big one.
Then we got our chili cook-off. We've got a lot of things coming up.
And the chili cook-off this year will be a 3-way contest because it will be between fire, EMS, and now the sheriff's office, the noobs,
So-
trying to come in and
take
see
that trophy.
see what they can do.
I'm not one for spoilers, so spoiler alert for everybody listen. Turn your volume down if you don't want to know the results of this competition. But I'm going to tell you ahead of time, the sheriff's office is going to whip that tail in the chili competition.
There's a lot of good cooks up there at the sheriff's office.
So you got the fire department's got some good cooks. I know that in the past.
Honestly, it would be a good day to be a judge.
I was in there for the past couple of years, so I
Yeah.
can tell you that's good eating.
Well, if that covers all the news and events, before we wrap this thing up, one section, one topic, one area that we've gotten constant feedback on that people enjoy is hearing about court cases and just the true
crime and Floyd.
True crime and Floyd. So whether it's current, one that's already done and over with.
It's always going to have to be one that's done.
That is true, because to be able to talk about it.
Or made up.
or entirely invented.
What do you got for us this week, Eric? What kind of bread can you feed our listeners?
I thought we'd start off with a fairly simple one, but still pretty dramatic. It was the end of July of 2021. The Floyd County Sheriff's Office got a call to go out onto Alum Ridge, and there was a fella out there that Jason Greenhall was heavily partaking of alcohol that night. He had a bottle of liquor that he was working his way through. Apparently, his wife came home and found him, and they got into a verbal argument that led to the bottle of liquor being smashed. Mr. Greenhall didn't take that very kindly. Apparently, he went and retrieved a handgun and came out and brandished that at her, threatening her, and then proceeded to fire multiple rounds of that firearm through the wall of the house.
Whoa.
The Floyd County deputies were called shortly after that. By the time they arrived, that was Deputy Turman and Deputy Buckner. They arrived out there and found Mr. Greenhall in the process of he was packing up his stuff to move. And one of his most precious things he was taking, well, his bottles of alcohol and his guns. So he was loading those into the car.
When they showed up.
When they showed up.
What came of that?
Well, he got charged. He had multiple felony charges, and that went its way through the system. He eventually pled guilty because there was a child in the house elsewhere as well. So he was charged with felony child endangerment, felony discharging a weapon in the house, assault and battery on family member, and reckless handling of a firearm. He was sentenced to 15 years in the penitentiary. But what happened is that he had not had much of any kind of prior criminal events in his life. We went through the system. He went ahead and pled. There was a sentencing on that. What happened was the guidelines in that only gave him about a year or so of actual time to serve. So the judge ended up sentencing him to 15 years total in the penitentiary, with 13 of those suspended, put him on 5 years probation. So he has, he served his 2 years on that, getting his start in his life as a convicted felon later on in life. Got all his guns taken away from him, and been on probation since then. And he's had a little problems on probation as well, but he's still getting along. So he's going through the system. So that happened right here, just out on Alum Ridge.
You know, what year was that? I missed that.
That was 2021.
2021.
You know, it's crazy to me that you basically try to kill your significant other and your guidelines come in a year and a half. I mean,
it's a reality that we have to deal with.
Oh, I know.
Oh, no, exactly.
Yeah,
but we're all exasperated by that. You have the guidelines. Look at that. Even though it's a firearm and, the way he was waving it around and so forth, that's what it ended up being.
That's a perfect example of when these crimes happen to people out here and they come to us and they say, what's going to happen to him? He's going to go away forever. Mm-hmm. And you're like, well, he's probably going to pull a year. And they get mad about that. But that's that's the sad truth. That's the reality that we live in.
The guidelines kind of handcuff the judges is what they can do.
Right.
When we have cases where there are no guidelines, the judges are wide open. And so we tend to do a lot better in cases like that. But when you've got the guidelines, it's already been set in front of, for judges that want to keep their jobs, they have to go along with the guidelines.
Unless you were Judge Long.
Well, Judge Long didn't, but then he didn't make it past one set of reappointment. So that was something that was really laid against him, was that he exceeded the guidelines.
I don't know how many times in court I would hear him say, let the record reflect, this is not within the guidelines.
Well, that was going to be my next question, not to taper off on a tangent here, but what precedent is set for that? So for judges that say that I'm going to exceed the guidelines, but I guess that answers the question that if you do too much.
Exactly. So what happens that the judges know that if they go over the guidelines too much, they may have to answer to that to the General Assembly.
So it forces their hand indirectly.
Certainly you can do that some, but you have to justify it. Yeah. And if they do it a lot, it's going to cause problems for them. I think it's downside to the system because it doesn't let the judges do what they're entrusted to do fully. But that's the way the system is set up in Virginia. It's a reality.
It's kind of like George Carlin said, it's one big club and we're not in it. When it comes to these decisions that are that are being made.
The decisions on what to do and how the guidelines work, that's being made in Richmond. They don't ask us. It's just something that's made miles away with entirely different things on their mind.
George Carlin Had many great quotes. He's a great comedian. My favorite quote by him, he said, it's a darn shame the only people that actually know how to run this country are too busy cutting hair and driving cabs.
That's right.
And there's so much truth to that, But that's interesting.
He was clearly long before his time on a lot of his predictions.
Yeah, he was. He was a good comedian. But that'll take care of it, I think, for this week. For the Floyd Main Street podcast, got a little bit of true crime, got some events mixed in there. If you got something coming up that you want us to know about, I've been saying this every episode, and it becomes more and more. We got more and more people sending us, hey, can you mention this? Can you mention that? Send it to us. And I tell this to everybody, that if you got something, an event coming up that you want mentioned on the podcast, send it to us. Also send any promotional material, flyers, anything like that we can throw in on the YouTube. Comments, we love it. Feedback, good, bad, ugly, everything in between. Leave a comment. What did you like? What didn't you like? What did you agree with? What didn't you agree with?
What more would you like to hear?
Something tells me that internet comment sections typically don't hold back. But let us know. Let us know what you think. You can send us a private message too. Several people do that. You can email us. Our email,
Floyd Main Street Podcasting at yahoo.com.
Send us one that way. Several ways to get in touch with us. You can also listen to us on YouTube. I think that's where most people listen to us. But also check us out on Spotify and
all
Apple
the other
Podcasts.
places you get podcasts.
Yeah.
That's right.
iHeartRadio, all the big ones. Mm-hmm. And shout out to our production team.
Absolutely. John X doing great work.
John X, Big Country Cockham. Making
That's
it
right.
happen. Yeah, I tried to ask Big Country if he wanted to come on here for an interview.
We ought to do that.
It was not only a no, it was a heck no. He said, I ain't going to be in no podcast. But for our listeners who don't know who this guy is, there's a reason we call him Big Country. And I think, personally, if there was ever going to be a voice of Floyd, it would be his.
Yeah.
Although he's kind of like Bigfoot, though. I mean, other than coming to work, you never see him.
You don't. And he's been working night shifts, so you really don't see him ever. But now we appreciate Big Country Cockrum helping us out, and John X. John X has helped us out with these microphones. I mentioned earlier, if you go back and listen to our first few episodes, and then you're listening to this one, you'll notice the number one difference is the audio quality. So thanks to John X for these awesome mics and supplying us for some good recording equipment here.
Even though at times we put them to sleep while we're putting this podcast together.
Yeah,
today.
you know you're doing a riveting job when you look over and your production team is snoring.
And another big thanks to Safe Surfing.
Safe Surfing Foundation. Again, we mentioned it. This is the Safe Surfing Studio. We said that jokingly, but this is their headquarters located for Floyd headquarters, their office here in the Village Green, but they've graciously allowed us to use their space. So we want to make sure that you guys know about that. If you missed it, there is an earlier episode of the podcast in which Mr. Eddie Worth of Safe Surfing was with us, and he talked about them, what their vision was, what their mission statement is, what all they do. Good listen. It's a very important thing in the age of technology. We've got to protect our young people.
That's right.
So, spoiler alert also, and you guys are not aware of this either, but the weekend of the 20th of this month, I won't be able to be here. So I've asked Eddie if he would step in my place, in which he said he'd be glad to. So you guys will have to deal with him in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
So.
All right.
We'll get him to refresh us on some safe surfing stuff.
Absolutely.
But we absolutely appreciate him letting us use his space. It's nice to have a little bit of air flowing again.
Maybe if he's nice, he'll give us one of these T-shirts that he's got sitting around in here.
Eddie, yeah. I know you're listening. There's a whole stack of T-shirts that we moved to put a desk on. And
I mean, a couple XLs wouldn't hurt, would it? You know.
I looked over at Chad and I said, well, Eddie never give me one of these T-shirts. He said, well, shoot, me neither. But thank you, Safe Surfing, for the location, and thank you for what Safe Surfing does. We'll talk about that more when we get Mr. Eddie on. And don't forget to like and subscribe. That's the big one. If you subscribe to us on any of these platforms that you get your podcast, that's how you're going to know that when this thing drops. When it gets uploaded on Tuesday afternoons, you will get the notification. I've got friends that wait for that notification because it usually drops on their way home from work in the afternoon.
Tuesday at 5.
Tuesday at 5. There you go. So make sure to be on the lookout for that. But that'll do it for this week.
Y'all have a good week.
Y'all have a good week. I want to remind everybody to take care of yourselves and take care of the ones you love. Till next week.